Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 34 of What If Naruto Learned the Clone Secret in the Beginning. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the final episode, yes, the final episode of What If Naruto had the Red Rinnegan and was neglected. And thank you all for following me on that journey and for all the support that you have given me guys. And I hope you enjoy the final episode. But don't worry because new what ifs are coming up soon for you guys to enjoy. And remember guys, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for your help and your support. And yeah, remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So without further ado, with this to begin this new episode. Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Naruto and Jiraiya were back to back, as they had to separate as Naruto took on 3 of the paths, as Jiraiya took on the other 3. They were clashing violently as Jiraiya was facing off against Tendo Pain, as Naruto ended up destroying 2 of the Pains, but they got revived by the revival Pain. It was then that the earth started to break and shift apart, as Naruto had to destroy a huge chunk of earth that tried to grab him, as he jumped away to a safe distance underwater, but even the water was sucked up as he had to jump away from that as well. He then looked up in the sky as he saw a massive stone. The civilians had evacuated as the stone was made up from the hidden rain as Naruto was shocked. It was then that he looked up to see the 6 paths of Pain as Naruto started to look for Jiraiya, but Pain told him that Jiraiya got smashed up in the attack and Jiraiya is no more. Naruto lost it as he turned into something vile, something that was beyond what Pain ever imagined. This was not the power of the Kyuubi. As Naruto attacked the paths with such ferocity, he started to rip and tear them apart. None of them, absolutely none of them stood a chance. Pain's pushed back Naruto's almighty push, but Naruto just kept on getting stronger and stronger. As Pain was confused and it was getting quite taxed on his chakra, he used the absorption path and grabbed Naruto and started to absorb his power. But the black, dark, wicked source ripped into the path and it affected Pain, somehow good and bad. But Naruto ripped the absorption path apart and ripped the revival path, leaving Tendo Pain alone. Tendo Pain had to resort to using the planetary devastation another time, as he pours as much chakra blasting Naruto inside with the almighty push as he can. But Naruto kept on ripping out of it as he had to create a second one to capture Naruto inside once again, as the man was coughing up blood violently from where he was. But the entire place started to shake violently as fire started to rain down as Naruto was clawing himself right out of it. As Konan and Nagato could only watch and marvel at his power as he ripped right out of it. But he let out a scream like he was in pain or something. In his mindscape, Naruto woke up as he saw Akane. She was tied to a post with several markers around it. As Naruto then saw his darker half that started to attack him. He was getting beaten badly because his darker half was feeding off of Akane's power. This is the reason why he couldn't enter his mindscape, and this is the reason why he couldn't speak to her this entire time. As Naruto started to fight with his darker half, but with Akane's power at his disposal, he started to beat up on Naruto until Kushina arrived. She, a bit of her chakra was in the seal as she held Naruto, as they held on to the darker half as Naruto smashed his attack right into him. But he cursed and swore that he would come back and he would take over. As Kushina smiled at Naruto as he started to unravel the seal, as they free Akane as Naruto caught her before she fell. As the seal then started to crack, whatever Dark Naruto did, it messed with the seal badly. It's vanishing. As Kushina was tied to the seal, so her body started to go transparent as she told her that she will always love him no matter what. As everything then went blank. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across to the page and check it out for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. There was no telling how much time had passed, how long he was stuck inside the seal. But when Naruto finally came to, a scene of devastation was right in front of him. Once towering buildings of the inner ring was nothing but rubble now. Fire and heat was all over the atmosphere. As Naruto felt a weight, he looked down to see that he was holding someone, a young woman in his arms, with hair like fire and pale skin. She didn't even have a scrap of clothing on, completely naked, as it was Akane. So the seal that had kept her locked inside of him was gone. She was unconscious, probably due to the backlash that came from the seal. Even he didn't understand how this worked. Something like this has never happened before. A seal getting broken, and the Jinchuriki was still alive. He suspected the only reason he was still alive was because he was no longer human. As much as he would like to think about the situation more, this was not the time. He looked around and he could not find a single trace of pain. The group of 6 people that he was fighting. What happened while he was stuck inside the seal? He had no recollection. This place was truly a wreck. Some buildings had been gutted, while the others had been truly demolished entirely. As he jumped and landed on the largest rubble that he could find. The place was destroyed, demolished. It was completely gone. He thought this one section of village was the only thing damaged, but no. The entire city was no more. In the center of the city sat a large spear, similar to the one that Jerry was catching into, but far larger. The thing was maybe 50 or 60 meters in diameter. Unmoving there. First thing first, he needed to find clothing for Akane. Holding a naked girl was awkward. It took more time than he had liked, but he found some simple clothing, an overlarge t-shirt, and some shorts. Unfortunately, the shorts didn't fit because her tail kept on getting away. She only had 6. He suspected it was because Yami had stolen the other 3. So instead of carrying a fully naked fox lady, he was carrying a naked fox lady with no pants. He wandered the city a bit longer. He didn't know what he was searching for. Jiraiya remains, pain, that Konan lady that he was fighting. In either event, he realized there was no point of staying here, as he made his way out of the city. As Akane was sleeping in his arms, he made his way through the river tunnel. As he made his way for hours. The sun started to set as he would soon need to find a place to set for the night. As he finally came to a stop at a dry place. As he reached down, just great, his ninja pouch, it was gone. Probably destroyed, so he had no supplies. Just great. As he placed Akane next to a rock. As he sit down as well. As Naruto simply looked up in the sky, until something fell on his lap as he looked down. It was Akane, and she simply fell over into his lap. As he reached down and started to stroke her hair. As he was doing that, he started to feel the aches and pain. His body felt like it was repeatedly broken over and over, and healed over again. As his body was feeling intensely beaten right now, settling down. As the energy, all of it started to wear off. All of that boost that he had gotten, getting out of the inner rain. As his eyes started to get droopy, his hands went limp. Just before he lost consciousness, he saw a pair of dark-skinned feet right in front of him. Time skip, Obito cursed the bad luck that he was having right now, as he was currently running from a set of people that was chasing after him. In his head, his silent alarms went off impending danger as he quickly made his body intangible. As a claw passed right through him and destroyed the tree that he was on, as he quickly jumped and started to run even faster, flipping as he saw the emotionless eyes of the Nebi Jinchuriki looking at him. He flipped back onto the tree as he started to run once again. He had no idea how the Kumo Shinobis had discovered his location or why they were chasing him. Well, he was wearing the Akatsuki clothing, but that wasn't reason enough. As, how did they find his base? Where was Zetsu? He was forced to separate from his partner when his base was struck. Normally, Obito would have easily been able to take care of them. But, when the Nebi Jinchuriki showed up, and then the Raikage showed up, and then the Hatsubi showed up, he knew that it would be a wise choice to get out of there. So, him and Zetsu ran. A loud crackling sound from behind alerted him to more danger. He could feel the electricity near his back. As he made his body intangible, as a tree was destroyed, several of them in front of him. As the Raikage landed, Obito flipped and landed on his feet. The moment he did that, the Hatsubi Jinchuriki was waiting for him. Lightning release, lariat! Obito made himself intangible, and the Hatsubi Jinchuriki went right through him. This did not end the assault, as the Nebi Jinchuriki was on him once again. As he activated Kamui, the era started to swirl all around them, and Nebi Jinchuriki started to get sucked away to his dimension. It was too bad he never got the chance to complete his ninjutsu. Before he could trap her, something powerful struck him from behind. At that same instant, Nebi Jinchuriki attacked with a powerful claw swipe, but Obito used his eyes to become intangible, as she passed through him without damaging him. But the 3 of them surrounded him in a triangle formation. He glanced to his left at the Hatsubi, he glanced to his left at the Nebi. The Raikage was behind him was the man who landed a powerful blow to the back of his head while he was trying to deal with the Nebi. as Obito wondered if he should pretend to play the fool like he usually did. However, he didn't think that sort of roleplay would work here. He heard about these people, especially the Hatsubi Jinchuriki Killer Bee, who was really talkative and loved to rhyme. But the man hasn't spoken a single word, neither of them has. Something was definitely wrong. But he knew that something was wrong from the moment they attacked him. Not only did they launch an assault on his base, but when he tried to teleport away using his right eye, he couldn't teleport at all. It wasn't that the eye was working, it did work. He was able to absorb several ninjutsu that was launched at him, but when he tried to teleport himself to escape, he couldn't. He was confused. He didn't understand why he couldn't. Every time he tried, some outside forces would stop his ability. The problem was he couldn't figure out who was interfering or how were they able to interfere. No one was able to mess with Sharingan abilities except for maybe Kakashi. However, Kakashi was not here. The Nibi Jinchuriki fired out several fireballs at him. The hero balls transformed into the shape of a mouse and broke apart into several different parts. As he could feel heat from where he stood, he became intangible as they passed right through him, but they turned around and came back at him once more. With a grimace, he ceased being intangible as he absorbed them into his Kamui. But at that moment, the Hatsubi Jinchuriki and the Raikage launched attacks at him. Lightning release, double lariat! Obito realized in a split second that he couldn't reactivate his intangibility to avoid this attack, and he also knew what would happen if he got hit. With barely a second to avoid, he activated Earth Jutsu to travel underground, as he could feel the attack graze his mask before it disappear under the Earth's surface. Appearing several meters away, he started to run once again. He needed to lose these people. At the very least, he needed to find a way to fight them separately, as a trio of high-level ninjas took after him once again, as he did everything in his power to avoid being demolished by them, relying on ninjutsu he hadn't used in the last several years. As the three of them came at him, he went through a set of hand signs as he released a massive swirling flame towards them. But the Nibi Jinchuriki sliced right through the attack with her claws coated in Bijou chakra. The Hatsubi and Raikage came to him from the left and the right. Obito went through hand sign, fire release, bomb blast dance. He launched a stream of flame from his mouth. The Hatsubi Jinchuriki burst right through it, his body coated in yokai, with two horns in his head, as Obito made his body became intangible once again. The Jinchuriki passed right through him and smashed into a tree and demolished it. He didn't stop there though, he blasted through several other trees and smashed through a boulder. As Obito deactivated his intangibility jutsu, he couldn't afford to keep it up for more than 5 minutes, so he had to shut off. He had to quickly move from being struck by an arm that was coated in lightning chakra, as he quickly went under earth. But the moment he appeared once again, the Raikage was on him in a second. What the? The Raikage's entire body was wrapped in a layer of chakra. Obito was forced to become intangible as the man passed through him as a blur before disappearing once again. As the man was moving incredibly fast, the two Jinchuriki then rushed towards him once again, attacking him, forcing him to keep his intangibility jutsu up. They weren't just physical attacks either. They released massive balls of negative energy that destroyed the ground all around him. As his intangibility jutsu ended, before he could escape though, someone grabbed him from behind. As he was lifted in the air by the Raikage, he caught a glimpse from someone to his left. That person had pale skin, long black hair, and wore a kimono with a purple rope tying together. He recognized a man. It was Orochimaru. But this one had black eyes that are red, 6-pointed star in each eye. The Mangita Sharingan? No. The Eternal Mangita Sharingan. Time seemed to slow down as Obito's head was being brought down to the ground by the Raikage. In those last few seconds of life, Obito realized why he could use his Kamui to teleport, and why these three were chasing after him. Orochimaru probably realized who he was, or he was probably just being cautious. But he used his previous association to the Akatsuki to launch an attack and find his location. Now, having likely killed Sasuke and Itachi to gain the Mangita Sharingan, he was taking away any forces that might be able to oppose him. Damn it all, Obito said, as he was smashed headfirst into the ground. Ren, I failed to change the world. I'm sorry. Orochimaru made his way over as the three ninjas released their respective techniques. The Raikage lightning armor vanished, and the red aura surrounding two Jinchurikis disappeared. The era was destroyed from the Bijou bomb that Killer Bee and Yujito had released. After interrogating Itachi, Orochimaru learned about Obito, this masked man who had the Sharingan as well. Thanks to that interrogation, Orochimaru knew where most, if not all, the Akatsuki base were. Several Kumo squads were assigned out to raid some of them. As Obito, body was lying on the ground dead, Orochimaru smiled. Good work, you three, said Orochimaru. Sir, the Raikage says. He looked displeased as he rotated his shoulders. I am not sure why you had all three of us take care of this shrimp. I think any one of us could have defeated him on our own. Perhaps, Orochimaru said, but I'd rather not take any chances. This man is quite slippery. Even if you were able to defeat him, you'd probably just run away. I guess. Yo. He was pretty wily. He took a long time for us to defeat him, yo. I am surprised it took this long for 3 ninjas of our caliber to defeat one person, said Yuchito. He didn't seem very strong, but that was probably because he was up against all 3 of us. The battle might have been different if it was just one of us. Orochimaru Smazy watched the 3 shinobis. None of them had any idea that he was controlling them with his Sharingan. Whenever they looked at him, each of them saw someone different, someone they would give special treatment to. He didn't know what they saw himself. His jutsu was relied on the memories that he controlled of the ninjas. His genjutsu was also so strong that none of them suspected that they might be trapped in one. That was a frightening thing about the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan genjutsu. Even Kage-level ninja like these 3 had no idea that their thoughts were being manipulated by genjutsu. It was even stronger for Jinchuriki because the Sharingan could easily control Bijus. In either event, we dealt a serious blow to the Akatsuki, Orochimaru said. Let's head back to Kumo. The 3 of them acknowledged his order with a nod, as Orochimaru watched them go, before turning. Have you anything to report, Kabuto? As Kabuto appeared. I regret to inform you Zetsu has escaped, he said, bowing to the ground. He used a jutsu that allowed him to travel underground. We lost his chakra signature. While it is regrettable that Zetsu escaped, I do not think that we will need to worry about him. On his own, he can't do much. He would likely regroup with the last 2 members of the Akatsuki. However, now that I have the power of these eyes, we can take care of them later. Should I go back to the Hidden Zone and prepare our forces? Asked Kabuto. Yes, if we are going to launch an attack on Konoha, then I'll have to combine the forces of Kumo and the Sound. Konoha is far too powerful for one village alone, but with the 2 villages at my disposal, I believe we can begin moving my plan to crush my former village. But of course, we will let Kumo lead the charge, he said, his smile growing wider. Meanwhile, Naruto slowly opened his eyes, as he saw a wooden ceiling. It wasn't a ceiling though. If he could say it looked like a hollowed out tree. He blinked a couple of times. Where the hell was he? His body felt heavy as he tried to move his limbs. It felt like he was wearing your weight rockily weird, but heavier. You shouldn't get up. You might be able to survive the unceiling because you're no longer human, but your body is suffering from numerous side effects. A soft, feminine voice said, making her to turn to the direction of the voice. Sitting beside him was Akane. As Naruto took a good look at her 6 tails flashing behind her, her red eyes, and a pair of fox ears at the side of her head. A pair of bangs came down her face, as she was wearing pants now, with a simple grey shirt. Akane, said Naruto. Naruto, she said. There was a silence, as Naruto wanted to say something, but he had no idea what to say. She had ignored him for the longest time and never figured out why. Now that she was here, he wanted to say so much, but he was drawing a blank. So the first thing came to his mind, he spoke. Where are we, he said. I do not know, she said. However, I do know that we were brought here by someone. She is away right now, but she did say she will be back to bring us lunch. Do you know who that person is? No. I did not get a chance to ask her name. I only just woke up half an hour ago myself. Oh, said Naruto. So, how are you feeling? How do I feel? She raised her hand, clenching and unclenching her fingers, as she then sighed. I am a lot weaker now than I prefer. 3 of my tails were stolen by Yami. That said, I'm feeling mostly fine, all things considered. I do enjoy the fact that I'm no longer tied to that seal though. I guess you'd enjoy being free, said Naruto. Sorry, you had to stick with me for so long. What sort of apology is that, she said. If I was bothered by being stuck with you, I would have tried a lot harder to manipulate you into releasing me. Anyway, she says, she turned her head. The one who should be apologizing is me. You, said Naruto. Well, I got very angry when you slept with Koyuki, and I decided to shut you out of the seal. I didn't want to talk to you after that because seeing you with that woman made me angry. For some reason, I felt like ignoring you after that. Was she saying what he thought that she was saying? So, you were jealous? I was not jealous, she snapped, as Naruto stared at her with a deadpan expression on his face, as she became rather uncertain if she was. She sighed as she looked away. Okay, I was jealous, she said. I didn't like how these other women were getting close to you. Naruto went silent as he looked around the room. It was a basic room, looked like they were in a hollow tree of sorts. There was a dresser and 2 futon, one for him and one for Akane. A thought then came to his mind. Akane, what am I to you? She bit her lip as she looked around the room. As, after a few seconds, she slumped. I don't know. While I have seduced many men to do my bidding, I was never intimate with any of them, and I never felt this way before. I just know I did not like it when a woman got to you before I did. Before you got to me, what does that mean, said Naruto. Please don't act like you're stupid. I know you're not that stupid, she said. Sorry, I just want to hear it in your own words, said Naruto as he smiled. Fine, she said as she puffed her cheeks out. Being as old as I am, and seducing many men over a long period of time, I am not upset that you slept with Koyuki or those other women. However, I was planning on eventually making you mine. I dislike that he got to you first. And that is why you shot me out, said Naruto. She looked away as her cheeks became bright red. It was obvious if you thought about it, she was a Kyuubi. Akane was a powerful creature that has lived for a long time. Admitting that she was jealous was probably a huge blow to her pride. What made her, well, more angry was that the people who sparked her jealousy was humans that she said she didn't really care for, and she still didn't, up to this day. I'm sorry, said Naruto. I had no idea you felt that way. Yeah, well, it's not like you could have known, she said. I only decided to make you mine after watching you grow during your training trip. My plan was to wait after your training trip to seduce you, but then Koyuki did it first. So, said Naruto as he pushed himself up in a sitting position. Is that offer still open? As she narrowed her eyes at him. It is, if you want to be mine. You know I won't stop seeing those girls until old age or mission take them, right? I know, she said. Are you okay with that, Naruto asked. I have already said it before, haven't I? I have seduced a lot of people in my life, men, women. If I were to say I dislike you being with other women, it would make me a hypocrite. I do not mind. I'll probably even join you, she said. I just don't like that someone took your first time, aside from me. In that case, Naruto said, as he quickly moved over and kissed her, knowing her feelings now, as she was surprised by this sudden rush of kiss. But she kissed him back. Said a voice. Should I leave so you two can have some more time alone? As the both of them turned to the girl. Time skip. After their embarrassing interlude, where the person interrupted them, the three of them are now around a fire pit. The girl who rescued them was a dark-skinned teen. Well, she was mostly tan, as she had on a takiwa headband around her right arm. She was carrying a large object on her back when she came in. Man, I was so surprised to find you. I never thought we would run into each other again. The girl laughed as she poked at the fish that she was cooking. It was over a metal grill that was placed on top of the fire. I didn't think that we would run into each other like this, Fu, said Naruto. As it was none other than Fu, the holder of the seventh tail, Nanabi. Do you know this girl, Naruto? Asked Akane. We only met once, said Naruto. It was a few months after I and Jiraiya-sensei left Yuki no Kune. We ended up traveling to Take, where Shibuki introduced us to Fu. But we didn't really get to talk much, said Fu. But it was really nice getting to meet another person like me. Oh, speaking of, Nanabi said that you're the Kyuubi. Is that true? Akane, 6 tails, which she was left with, were currently in her lap as she was grooming them, mostly running her fingers through her soft-looking fur. I am the Kyuubi, yes, she said. I knew it. I was really curious because when we found you, we found those tails. And I don't know any other humans that has tails. But I was still really shocked when Nanabi told me that you were the Kyuubi. As she finished grilling up the fish, as she placed salt on it, as she stuck them on sticks, as she gave one to Akane and Naruto, as she took the last 2 for herself. This was Akane's first time eating in centuries, as she ate like a princess. So gentle and soft. When they finished their meal, Fu snapped over towards the 2 of them. As the both of them leaned back a bit, her eyes were sparkling. So she said in a really loud voice, How do you escape from the seal? And how are you still alive after Kyuubi escaped from the seal? I thought it was impossible to remove a Bichu without killing the host. That is what everyone says. Is that not the case, or is there something special about you two? As a Jinchuriki herself, Fu was extremely excited and curious to how they did this and what exactly was truly going on. To be completely honest, neither of us know how exactly this all works out, said Naruto. However, he did his best to explain the circumstances of Akane getting free from the seal. He didn't tell her about them infiltrating the Hinrin, but he told her about him facing off against his dark half and his mother helping him. Fu didn't really understand that part as she asked many questions. How could your mother help you battle your dark side? Or what is the chakra imprint? But by the end of the tale, Fu seemed to understand a bit more. She said as she went quiet for a few seconds. She then asked, do you think it would be possible to unseal the Nanabi as well? Naruto had no idea how to answer that as he turned to Akane. No, I doubt that you'll be able to unseal Nanabi. Well, you wouldn't survive. Naruto's body is unique. He's not fully human anymore because he absorbed a large portion of my power in the Chunin exams. Akane said after getting a nod from Naruto. I call him I knew, although the word is incorrect itself because I'm not a demon. But, unlikely, that wouldn't happen to you. The circumstances behind the transformation are unique, and due to a large part of how the seal on him was working. Oh, well that suck, said Fu. As, hearing that blunt response, Akane spoke once again. You say that, but Naruto will not have to live forever. The people we knew and loved will eventually die, leaving him. Do you think you can live like that? Fu said. Well, I guess that would kind of suck. I mean, I don't have many friends, but I like Shibuki, and I would not like to outlive him. The longer you live, the more jaded you become, said Akane. You can see everything. How people murder, rape, pillage, steal. And then you realize that humans are nothing but trash. And you must stop caring for them entirely. They will become toys for your own amusement. And you'll start to use them like your puppets. And then you will lose sight of what you were. I didn't realize that until long after I was still inside Naruto, said Akane. As Naruto looked at her, he already knew that she had become jaded and cynical. When they first met, she showed her dislike of humans. But he never really understood. But now, hearing the things that she has went through, after all the things that she has seen, he knew that this world was quite a messed up place. So, after seeing so much war, so much death, rape and all that, who could blame her? Yeah, said Fu. That doesn't sound too fun. No, it does not, said Akane. As Naruto learned that Fu's hut was the remains of a hollowed tree, as they were at the outskirts of Take. He had no idea how they got there, whether Fu had carried them all the way, or they were somehow nearby and Fu just happened to find them. As he remembered very little after battle pain, but he knew that he was running for hours. Perhaps he just traveled that far. They spent 2 days with Fu. During that time, Naruto did what he could to help out. Akane did nothing at first, but perhaps out of boredom, she decided to help out as well. Sadly, she couldn't do much. It was a bit amusing to see her feel like cooking. Well, she never actually done anything for herself. She charmed humans into doing anything for her, which meant she never actually did anything herself. Despite that, she was very stubborn and she refused to give up after failing. The first time she cooked the fish, she burned them so bad they were inedible. After that, she demanded to cook every single day. When he was helping Fu with her chores, he saw Akane cursing as she was glaring at the fish as she tried to get them perfectly cooked. But after several failures, she managed to learn how to cook the fish. Shibuki also came by. As the leader of Take, he was a busy man, so he didn't stay long, but he was glad to see Naruto. As Naruto informed that his injuries and Akane's presence was because his battle against the Akatsuki, even though he didn't tell Shibuki everything. Finally, the time had come. Take care of yourself, Fu. You too, Fu said. As Naruto waved goodbye to Fu, as Akane simply waved her hand, after Fu said goodbye to her as well. As the both of them then turned as they start to leave. Are we going back to Konoha? Akane asked. Yeah, we've been gone for a long time, and I need to inform Tsunade about what happened to Erosenin. A sharp pain stabbed Naruto in his chest as he thought about what happened to his sensei. He hadn't seen Jiraiya die, but the man was stuck in that giant satellite thing that pain had created. There was very little chance that his sensei had survived. Akane reached out as she grabbed Naruto's hand. Her hand was sensitive and warm and soft. As he looked up, but she turned her head. I can't do much for you, but I can do this much at least, she said, as she was looking in the opposite direction. Naruto tightened his grip on her hand and smiled. Thank you, he said. Whatever she said. Time skip. Despite sitting at her desk in the Hokage's office, Tsunade was barely getting the work done. Several days ago, as she was reading over documents and filing things, her favorite jarred safe had cracked. The jar was in mint condition and incredibly durable, but it just cracked. Being as superstitious as she was, Tsunade was starting to feel worried, as she's been doing a lot of problems since then, as Shizune was forced to clean up all the problems that she had, misfiling things and all that. Even though Shizune was working tirelessly at her side to keep Tsunade on track. The both of them heard footsteps as a Jonin came in the room. I hope you have a reason for barging in here without knocking, said Tsunade. It's Naruto, the Jonin said. He has returned. What? Where is he? Said Tsunade as she got up. Our guard spotted him outside of Konoha. He's arriving with a strange woman. A strange woman, said Shizune as she looked at Tsunade. Any idea on who this strange woman is? And what about Jiraiya? I didn't see Jiraiya with him, but the woman is... Well, it might be better if you saw her for yourself. Tsunade felt her heart jumped a bit when she heard that Jiraiya was not with Naruto. But she pushed aside that feelings for now. He could have gone somewhere else to do something else. How far out is he? He should be arriving in the village any minute if he hasn't already. Very well, said Tsunade. Send him to me the moment he arrives in the village. Yes, Hokage-sama. As her worries started to get the worst of her, that Jiraiya was not with Naruto. Did something happen to him? Tsunade, said Shizune. There is no sense about worrying about anything yet. Naruto is here. He will explain everything. Right, said Shizune. Naruto arrived about 15 minutes later, entering through the door. Quite, well, silent. That was unusual for him. He didn't greet her with the usual sup, granny. That was so casual. But he didn't say anything at all. His clothing was also different. He had on red pants, a white shirt, and a scarf on his neck. But he still on his headband. As beside Naruto was a woman with an impressive figure. Despite her rather ordinary outfit, her fiery red hair and her gaze, just her look made her stand out quite a bit. Even Tsunade, who was quite confident in her appearance, felt, well, threatened by this woman's unnatural beauty. Naruto said Tsunade. She didn't know even where to start after saying his name. I returned from my mission, Naruto said in a soft voice. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm guessing things didn't go as planned, Tsunade said. Do missions ever go as planned, he said. You bring up a good point. As she hesitated, not want to ask this question. But she had to. Where's Jiraiya? Naruto felt no, well, precaution about beating her in the bush. He's just safe and get it over with. He's dead. That was all it took for him to launch into a briefing at what happened. He told him about sneaking in. How he fought Tona while Jiraiya took on Pain. How they had fought side by side while Pain then used a strange jutsu to create spears in the sky. That had trapped Jiraiya. He left nothing out. Tsunade would have liked to say that she listed everything intently, but that was a lie. The moment Naruto said that Jiraiya was dead, her mind literally collapsed on itself. She felt like this was some cosmic prank, it had to be a joke. But the more she listened to his story, the more she realized he was completely serious. That he was telling the truth, Jiraiya was dead. He was gone. But she bottled up all of her emotions, she did not let them show. She needed to get through this briefing before she could let herself grieve. I understand the situation now, she said. It sounds like you did everything you could, she said. I should have done more, said Naruto. Tsunade turned her gaze towards the Kyuubi. So you're the Kyuubi. Or should I call you Akane? You can call me whatever you wish. I've gone by Kyuubi for so long. It will be probably easier if you call me that. Fair enough, said Tsunade. What is your plan now that you're free? What she really wanted to ask if Akane really wanted to take revenge on the village for stealing her. But it didn't seem that way. Because she didn't seem to really, well, mind anything about that. And also, she seemed to be rather close to Naruto, seeing that Tsunade knew about the odd relationship between these two, as Naruto told her about her when the time they first met. As she could also see that Akane was sending concerned glances at Naruto when he was talking about his battle. That was beyond a Bichu and Jinchuriki relationship, well, former Jinchuriki. I plan on staying with Naruto. Like me, Naruto is immortal. Life of an immortal is lonely. However, I believe that your life would be much bearable for an immortal if you have someone to share it with. Tsunade sensed something deeper behind those words. As she imagined, the Kyuubi was a lonely being that has lived for a long time. So, life could be boring if you were on your own. Even Tsunade did not want to be alone, that is why she takes Shizune with her after she left the village after Dan's death. In that case, I have no problem letting you stay in the village with Naruto. I can't let you become a ninja for obvious reasons, but so long as you don't cause problems, I think we can work something out. I appreciate that, said Akane with forced courtesy. As Tsunade imagined that the great Kyuubi would never, well, she wasn't used to giving courtesy to humans. You're dismissed, Naruto. You can rest for now, said Tsunade. He looked like he wanted to say something, but he just simply nodded. As he left the room with Akane, once Naruto left the office with Akane, the dam that Tsunade was holding back finally broke. It started a painful sob that rocked her entire frame. Then tears flowed down her face. Lady Tsunade, Shizune said in a word. You damn fool, Tsunade whispered. The sound of her crying was the only noise in the office. Meanwhile, Naruto was outside as he heard the crying coming from inside. Each painful crying drove a stake further into his heart. As he walked away from the door after taking several deep breaths, Naruto, Akane said, Come on, let's head home. I feel like it's way too long since I saw my apartment. She didn't say anything, she just followed behind him. They made their way out of the Hokage mansion and into the busy streets as Akane hid her heels. Before she had been seen by his father, that was how she avoided detection for so long. It seems shape-shifting was a specialty of hers, and unlike transformation technique, this one did not dispel when she was undertaking an activity that was strenuous or something. I wasn't paying attention heading Hokage's office, but things really look different from inside the seal. It does, said Naruto. Yes, it does. Inside the seal I could only see what you were seeing through your eyes, but I could not feel all of this, she said, and smell all of this as she could smell various food and feel the breeze on her face as they were going through a busy street. While many things were selling, you had food over one spot and jewelry over one spot, trinkets, everything. As they turned into a rather different district, I never really noticed it before, or perhaps I forgot it over time, but being able to enjoy these sensations is why I created a human form. It is, said Naruto. Yes, Akane said. Being a giant nine-tailed fox with 9 tails means I cannot enjoy this kind of life, and I wanted to experience what it felt like being human. Naruto gave her a nod as they went up the stairs to his apartment. As he unlocked the door and entered, Akane followed him. Would you like something to eat, Naruto asked, as he was going towards the kitchen, but a hand slowly went around his hand, holding onto his wrist. As he looked back at Akane, the look on her face was serious and looked worried as well. "What's up? Not hungry?" he asked. "You're acting too normal for someone sensei who just died," she said. Well, I can't say I'm not sad, but we're ninjas. Death is something constant in our world. It is, but that doesn't mean you can accept something like that so easily. You know it's not good to bottle up your emotion like that." Naruto flinched. "I know, but She tugged on his arm, pulling him towards her, as she wrapped him up in a hug. She was actually a bit taller than him, so his face was rested right in her bosom as she wrapped her arms around him tight. "It's okay to grieve now," she said. "There's no one here but me." Perhaps he was really bottling up his information a lot, because he just started to cry. It was like her words just broke the dam that was keeping all of his tears in check, all of his emotions, as she held on to him tight as he cried, as she just held him right there. After a while she spoke. "Do you feel better?" "Yeah, thank you," Naruto said. "Anytime," she said. "You know, you're being awfully nice," said Naruto, as his head was still resting on her chest. "It's very weird." "Have I not been nice before?" she asked. "You have, but it's just that you were ignoring me for so long. I'm not used to it anymore." "I guess that's my fault," she said. "It's fine," said Naruto, as he sniffed a bit as he pulled back. "Anyway, why don't we get something to eat? Is there anything you'd like me to make?" Do you even have food available?" she asked, as Naruto went towards his fridge that only had some cheese, egg, and milk, as he could feel her amused gaze on his back. "Why don't we go out for ramen tonight?" he said, rubbing the back of his head. Time skip. "Welcome to Oh, I'll be damned, it's been a while since you came here, Naruto." "Hey there, old man, how have you been?" said Naruto, as him and Akane slipped into the stall and sit down. The two of them greeted him with a smile. "We've been good," the man said. "You know how nothing ever changed around here." "I suppose that's good to hear," Naruto said, as Ayam leaned over. As she flipped her eyes over to Akane, Akane noticed her gaze and raised her eyebrow. As Ayam looked over back to Naruto. "And who is this? You got yourself another girlfriend?" "I suppose I can say that," said Akane. "But I would like to say I'm more than a girlfriend." "Oh," said Ayam as she leaned back and gave a smile. "It seems this girl is taking her claim. I like her. What do you have to say to that, Naruto?" "Well, it's not like she's wrong," said Naruto, as Ayam clapped her hands together and squealed here and there. After ordering their meal, Akane did most of the talking. Even after being sealed for more than 16 years, she seemed rather, good with communication. As they left soon after finishing, but Ayam told Akane to come over sometime so they can talk more, as Naruto feel like Ayam just wanted to talk about the relationship. It still wasn't late by the time they arrived home, as Akane shed some of her disguise, as her 6 tails appeared behind her, and her fox ears appeared. "It seems we still have a lot of time left today, but I'm really not sure what we should do," said Naruto, trying to think of what they could do. He normally trained during this time, but he just got back from the mission, and he was mentally drained. "I suppose we can go shopping." Akane is still wearing the clothes that Fu provided for her. "I can think of something that we can do," said Akane. "Really? What is—" Naruto was cut off, as she leaped forward and pressed their mouths together, as she breathed the kiss after a while. "I do not care if you sleep with other women. However, I'm still going to claim you," she said. "Even if you sleep with other women, none of them will be able to stay with you. I am different. I will live on like you will. Unlike them, I will live on and live by your side forever. That is why if you sleep with them, even if you fall in love with them, you will always be mine." As he looked into her eyes, he felt himself giving into the idea, causing him to nod. "That doesn't sound too bad," he said. "Not bad at all," she said. She continued to kiss him, as this time he kissed back. Time skip. "I am bored," said Katetsu. You think you're the only one that feels that way? We're all the way out here in the bonus. There's nothing to do. The nearest village is an hour and a half away, and that is if we run. However, we have a duty to perform here, regardless of how bored it is." As the both of them, Katetsu and Aizumo were on a mission at the border of Hainokune. Even though it was called a mission, it was really just border patrol. They, along with 2 other Chonins and 2 other Jonins, making a unit of 6, they were in charge of guarding and patrolling the border. It was a really boring job. "I wish we have something to do," said Katetsu. "Quick complaint, we're all bored out of our minds," grunted the Jonin that was in control of him and Aizumo. He was a serious man named Tatsuro, and he looked rather serious most of the time, with his face looking almost same to Ibiki. He could probably give him a run for his money, in the both of them seriousness, as they were located in a single-story building buried in the ground. It was meant to blend in with the surrounding forest, while the outside was built in the shape of a boulder, and had moss growing all around it. The build inside the forest, the inside, had a draft grey color of the floors, wall and ceiling. Only thing they had was a fridge for meals, and a table, nothing else. As Tatsu growled a bit, Intsu and the others are late. "Something's wrong, shouldn't take this long to return from the border." Maybe they ran into some trouble, said Izumo. Tatsuo frowned. Let us hope not. About an hour later, they were forced from their thoughts when the door to their base burst open. As Katetsu saw a woman, Kira, a woman with brown hair and eyes, fell to the floor as she entered. As the sound of her falling produced a wet sound because her body was covered in wounds. As the blood leaking from those wounds formed a puddle beneath her. Kira, said Tatsuo as he rushed over. Katetsu and Izumo quickly grabbed medical supplies. While they were doing that, Tatsuo tried to speak with the woman. What happened out there? Kumo. We were attacked by Kumo shinobis. The words caused him to freeze that they were struck by an ice jutsu. That's impossible. We're allies with Kumos, aren't we? Said Tatsuo. No one answered his question. It was like Katetsu or Izumo knew what was going on. The woman was so badly roughed up she couldn't really talk anymore. Izumo, send a message to Hokage. Tell her what is happening here. Tetsu, help me patch up her wounds. The both of them nodded as they got to work. Izumo finished sending off the message. Something was wrong though. All the animals around stopped making noise. The fact that the animals were no longer making noise was a cause for concern. There was always animals, birds, crickets, frogs, rabbits, creating noise. Katetsu grabbed two large kunai blades, as each blade were nearly half a meter in length, as he handed one of them to Izumo. As Tatsuo set Killua back on the ground and stood protectively over her, not a sound could be heard outside. What do you think, Tatsuo? Asked Katetsu when nothing happened after several minutes. Should we go outside and scan the area? Reconnaissance. Tatsuo opened his mouth to answer, but he never got the chance to. The ceiling exploded and a large panther, crackling with black energy charged inside. Katetsu and Izumo plunged as the creature released a soundless scream. Arcs of black lightning spewed from its body and fly towards them. But Tatsuo reacted quickly, Earth style. Mud wall, he says. He slammed his hand on the ground as a mud wall erupted. But the black lightning ripped right through it. Fortunately, Katetsu and Izumo were able to leap out of the way. Even Tatsuo grabbed the woman and jumped away before they could be struck. As Katetsu and Izumo speed through hand sign, as they release a massive fireball together that smashed into the Black Panther made of lightning. The collaboration jutsu destroyed the Black Panther as a man appeared in front of them when the Black Panther was gone. I had expected that last attack to kill you, the man said. I really don't want to fight against anyone. You're Darui, said Izumo. You're a Jonin from Kumo known to possess the Black Lightning, Kekigenkai. You heard of me, said Darui. Well, that's dull. What are you doing here, said Tatsuo as he pulled a pair of kunai from his ninja pouch. Has Kumo decided to betray Konoha? I suppose you can say that. Well, don't get me wrong. I think betraying Konoha is a stupid idea. Especially when our alliance was going so well. But well, alright, Kage has given us orders. As fellow shinobis, I'm sure you understand what that means. Going against a Kage order was like going against a village. So they had to, no matter what. We might understand why you're doing this, but don't expect any forgiveness from us, said Katetsu. Don't worry, I won't, said Darui. But guys, be in subscribe right here for the next part if you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below and turn bell notifications stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also go ahead and check out the final episode of What If Naruto had the Red Rinnegan and was neglected. And don't worry guys, because you know that new episodes, new what ifs are coming up soon for you guys to enjoy. So stay in tune and just relax. And yeah guys, new what ifs are coming up soon. But for now, I'm out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.